Many places of worship have been adapting to new ways of gathering safely in a pandemic.
But some faith leaders feel the shutdown rules go too far by restricting religious expression. News 8's Heather Hope has the story.
Since March, the doors of the church have been closed for traditional services for many places of worship, like Awaken Church here in Kearney Mesa, which holds an online Sunday service and an in-person prayer service. Many faith leaders have felt that religious liberties were infringed upon when churches were not deemed essential to remain open. So some are following state guidelines, others finding a happy medium, and some churches have even filed lawsuits.
Many places of worship in San Diego County are still trying to find their place in the coronavirus pandemic.
You know, our church is very affectionate. They love gathering together. And
that strain has lasted longer than any of us anticipated. We first spoke with Ricky Page, a lead pastor at the Rock Church San Diego, back in March. Hallelujah. Congregation Bethel would love to congregate in person.
For us in the Jewish community, the big challenge right now is imagining our High Holy Day season.
The synagogue had to improvise online for Passover to stay in compliance.
Do I think we should change the rules at a point in time when it's not safe to have those gatherings? Absolutely not.
In Bonita at the Corpus Christi Catholic Church.
Normally we would be in the church.
Mass has moved outside underneath tents.
I think it's been a challenge in many different ways, but it's also been a great opportunity for us to be creative.
Father Efraim Batista describes the difficulties of going from 7 services on a Sunday, seeing about 5,000 people, to a much smaller crowd.
You know, we had to mark all of our aisles to make sure that people were observing that social distancing.
With California Governor Gavin Newsom's extensive rules for religious services, limiting attendance to 25% or 100 attendees takes a toll.
I think churches of every size feel the pinch.
Donations have been down for some churches, causing pastors to get resourceful.
A pastor in an African-American community has to be a little bit of everything that society needs, because many of those resources don't exist in our society, in those communities.
Pastor Terrell Fletcher of the City of Hope International says faith leaders should have been consulted in the governor's guidance that restricts singing and limits worship time.
To make a mandate that essentially makes what we do purely social is to somewhat devalue what we bring to communities.
We speak blessing over you, San Diego.
Awaken Church came under fire recently for meeting in person indoors.
However, there's an expiration date on how long a church can function online.
Thousands packed Cardiff State Beach for a Let Us Worship gathering with very few people social distancing that caught the disapproval from the San Diego County Public Health Officer, calling it an egregious violation. But places of worship are pushing back.
We kind of feel like our hands are being tied behind our back, and there's a level of where we've been kind of muted.
Abiding Place Ministries in Alpine and Campo filed a lawsuit.
We are taking a legal approach.
Pastor Mark Spitzbergen says the case goes beyond fighting for the rights to assemble.
So a ruling at the end of this month, and then of course we're tracking for the Supreme Court.
San Diego City Council member Chris Cate proposed outdoor worship space as an option that the mayor recently signed as an executive order.
Exercise and to find comfort in their community, but do it so in a safe manner.
County Supervisor Jim Desmond says there have been double standards with pandemic health orders.
We allowed the First Amendment rights, so the freedom of assembly, but the freedom of religion is also part of that First Amendment as well, and that doesn't seem to hold the same weight.
Heather Hope, News 8.